If you still think that trading is about signals, technical analysis, and beautiful entries, then you haven't yet understood how the market works. Most traders fail not because of mistakes, but because they play by rules that are not written for them. Their emotions, behavior, reactions have long been calculated. They think they are in control, when in fact they are built into a system that is designed to take their money away from them. In this video, I'll talk about John Rockefeller, not a trader, not an analyst, but a man who showed the most important thing. Money is not a goal. Money is about control. He didn't guess the price. He controlled the structure by which the price moved. And it is this thinking that you can use to start building the same architecture inside your trading, not to run after an entry point, but to build a system in which everything is under control. From psychology to capital, to understand how control is formed, you have to go back to a time when it was just emerging. John Rockefeller was only 6 years old. At that age, children play, fight over toys, dream of becoming cowboys. And he kept records. Every dollar, every coin, every expense, every debt, every loan repayment, he wrote it all down in a notebook that he kept as a treasure. 6 years. Too young for discipline? Maybe. But it was this habit that was his first secret. He would later say, "I always knew where my money was and why it's there." It's not just a phrase. It's a formula for the mindset of a man who doesn't look for opportunities, but creates a structure in which the opportunities present themselves. And if you trade but don't keep a log of trades, don't track statistics, don't record your thoughts and mistakes, you're not losing money. You're losing control. You're gaming a system you don't control. It's like trying to build a house on sand. Beautiful, but not for long. Rockefeller started simple. Numbers, notebooks, accounting. But this is how you become stronger. Do you want to build a system where your actions are conscious, where money doesn't slip away, but works for you? Start with step 1. Pick up a pen, open a journal, and start seeing. He knew how to control every little thing. He kept accounting, allocated, and calculated. But the market reminded him of one simple thing. Even absolute discipline can't save you if you bet everything on something that's dying. He bet on oil. It was his main asset, his product, his source of influence. The entire business, from wells to exports, was tied to this resource. And as long as a barrel cost 30 cents, everything worked. He was winning. But then it started to fail. The price started to fall, first to 20, then to 10, at one point to 8. Electricity was rapidly replacing kerosene. People were giving up their lamps, their old systems. Oil, yesterday's symbol of progress, was suddenly a burden. It was losing value. It was losing its meaning. And his whole empire, heavy, unwieldy, began to fall apart. He was one step away from disaster, from losing what he had spent years building. If he had just sold oil, he would have lost. But Rockefeller didn't control the product. He held the route, the flow, the system. He built the infrastructure, refining, transportation, financial channels, logistics, influence in the press. He controlled not only what was produced, but how, where, and to whom it was sold. In essence, he built the architecture around the asset. And it was that architecture that saved him. When Henry Ford launched mass production of automobiles and oil became a necessity again, Rockefeller didn't break into the new economy. He was already in it. He had the pipes, he had the factories, he had contracts. He didn't depend on price. He created the conditions that made the price necessary. That's where the real control begins. Just as Rockefeller had a structure from the well to the banks, a trader must have a system, from entry to exit, from logic to logs. If you're just looking for an entry signal, you're already losing, because the market changes. And your strength lies in your ability to survive when everything around you is falling apart. You can win a trade, you can even win all month long. But if your entire trading is based on one idea, one approach, or one coin, the market is going to throw you out sooner or later, because the market is not about fairness. It's about structure and control. And risk management is your oil. It's not an emergency fund, it's a flow. It's the routes you take to move capital. It's the foundation that keeps you from failing when everything else goes down. To manage that is not just to stay in the game. It's about being the one who shapes it. Not a participant, but the architect. Its oil fed the economy. But the Rockefeller family went further. They began to control what shaped the economy itself. Over time, that control stopped being about money. It became about influence. You might think that Rockefeller is just about oil and wealth. That control is about assets. But then explain, why for decades have key decisions about the economy, global politics, and technology been discussed behind closed doors? Without cameras, without protocols, in places you'll never get to. They call it conspiracy theory. But actually, it's just a structure you can't see. The Bilderberg Club is one of those places. Annual meetings of the most powerful people on the planet. Presidents, bankers, media moguls, heads of corporations. You don't get in on merit. You go there for status. And David Rockefeller wasn't just a participant. He was one of the pioneers who determined what could be told to the world and what would be kept between the lines, who built not companies, but agendas, not commerce, but the direction in which society itself was moving. No headlines, without press releases, no tweeting. That is true control. And if you think all of this is far removed from trading, you're wrong. Because every day you open a chart and you're not looking at a price, you're looking at someone's structure, at something that's already set up. Somebody designed the liquidity. Someone has brought the price to where you're going to start buying. Someone has created a sense of freedom so that you choose your own reaction. That's a market maker. That's an institutional investor. It's a player who doesn't fight you. He's just holding the field. He doesn't build trades. He builds the environment in which you make your mistakes. You don't have to know the names of those at the top, but you do have to understand one thing. The market is not chaos. It's a system. And if you want to survive in it, you have to see who holds the structure, who writes the rules, who has long ago calculated how you will react to the candlestick, which you have drawn yourself. Control starts with thinking, but it's held through the system. You can see the market, recognize liquidity, feel the phase, but all this falls apart if emotions control you at the moment of trade. The real power isn't in prediction. It's how well you can maintain structure under pressure. And it's not a question of talent. It's about whether you have the tools to hold the system together. With this approach, the MiloBot PRO Expert Advisor was created a fully automatic trading system that opens and closes trades without your participation. It doesn't react to noise. It doesn't chase false breakouts. MiloBot works according to the author's strategy, based on clear logic and tested on real data. Over the last 4 years, MiloBot PRO has turned $34,000 into $272,000. And you can check it out. The statistics are open on my FX book. If you want to test it risk-free, just download the demo version and run it on history. See how it acts, how it holds the structure. And further, decide not by words, but by experience. Links to MiloBot and its demo version are in the description below this video. You can spend years looking for the best entry points, change strategies, go through indicators, but it won't change anything if you still think like a participant, like someone waiting for a signal. The market is not chaos, it's a construction, and every construction has an architect. Rockefeller started out counting coins in a notebook. He became a man who built systems where money moved not by chance, but by his rules. He didn't play the market. He created the conditions under which everyone else played. That's the main lesson here. Trading is not about trying to guess the movement. It's about building your logic, your system, your influence, where you control not the market, but yourself, where you have a strategy, structure, power. Control is not about power over others. It's about power over yourself. And if you are ready to move from reaction to design, from emotion to architecture, you have the most important thing. A chance not just to survive in this market, but to build something of your own in it and stay. If this video made you think, don't pass by. Give it a like and subscribe. There's no superficial noise here. Only in-depth analysis, real principles and thinking that helps you earn, not by accident, but systematically. We make content for those who don't want to be in the crowd, who is ready to think like an architect. See you in the next video.